What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the SwagTower podcast, aka the SwagCast. We are playing GTA 4 today, and we're in a much chipper mood compared to the last SwagCast that was recorded. Okay, that's kind of how everything is with life. You know, you go through maximum depression, and then you come back to a maximum high, and then you crash back down to a maximum depression. So your life is constantly living between two extremes, so you never feel normal and stable in life, so you eventually just end up going crazy. That is that is how life is lived. Of course not, that's not actually how life is lived. Ideally, you should want your highs to be relatively high, your lows to be relatively, kind of not too low. You shouldn't stray too far from. Who is this?
Niko, I've been invited to your cousin's wedding.
Okay, I don't care. Fuck you. Yeah, ideally your highs and your lows should not stray too far from equilibrium. You should be comfortable operating at equilibrium and not go too extreme in any direction, because that's how you build up a horrible life experience. In any case, today we're feeling much better, and I think I know the secrets to how I felt much better. There's three things, write this down, three large taglines for how I started to make myself feel better in the year of 2026. Let's get this going, guys. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, ring that bell so you never miss a Swag Tower video. No, I'm just pulling your leg. But the real thing, it is a three-step process, and the first step of that process was a kind of a willingness to want to change. And when I say that, I mean that a lot of the times change cannot happen. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? That is the proverb that is always spouted, but it is indeed extremely true. And I was extremely depressed for like a week. It kind of hit a maximum, or more than a couple weeks. Probably I'm still kind of depressed, but I'm just in the upper stage of depression. No, I'm probably not. But I was extremely depressed for about 2 weeks. I had gotten sick with something. I have no idea what. Maybe the common cold, the flu, COVID-23. I don't know, whatever it was, but I got sick, and that kind of made it so I just bed rotted all day, like kind of like forcefully, because I couldn't really do anything else. And that massive bed rotting, which more realistically, it was chair rotting. You know, I was just sitting here literally just playing games all day with like some YouTube video on the other screen, and I listened to a bunch of Togy and John Zerka just talking about, esoteric science, technology, Christianity, religion, spirituality, and also talking about a lot of just manifesting and just getting the life that you want. And that combination of kind of being sick, feeling depressed, watching those videos, it kind of made me realize that I'm not at the spot that I want to be in life at all. And that kind of started with the last Swag Cast episode 1 that was kind of recorded before I got super sick. So you can see that the depression was already there, and in some ways my crazy wacky ass woo-woo vibe self wants to believe, look at these guys, man, they're running so fast. I'm inspiring these people to run fast. Go faster. Whoa, dude, you're doing some acrobatics, some CrossFit. Let's go. And just like that, you got to get up, you got to shake it off. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, in combination of just being sick and then feeling like I wasn't where I wanted to be in life, and then seeing these other people who were where they wanted to be in life, and doing the things that they want to be doing. Specifically Togy, I think he's literally my age, and he's lived like 10 lifetimes in the span of 2 years. So that kind of had me thinking like I was a failure, and that everything that I was doing in this country that I'm in, of the beautiful Canada, like there's no point to me being here. How all I wanted was just a bunch of free time to be able to work on the things that I want to work on, but now that I have that free time, I'm not doing any of it because I feel some level of pointlessness, hopelessness, that kind of thing. So, you know, I kind of had to reach those darkest depths. Are these people going to steal my car? Oh no, I thought they were going to steal my car. I was like, yo, dude, don't steal my car. Why are they wearing things on the back of there? Move out the way, please. What? But... yeah, so I kind of had to get really deep down to be able to open myself up to change. And I think sometimes that's necessary. You know, a lot of people want to be like, oh, you know, you shouldn't go too far down the rabbit hole. Please don't flip, please don't flip, please don't flip. Thank God. No, 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 no. Please, 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 please. Please, what the fuck? Are you gonna steal? Are you serious? Yo, you don't want to do this. Oh, okay. I have a knife. I will stab you. I've stabbed you. And you are now dead. Anyways, get me back in my car. Let me try to salvage this. But a lot of people like to say, oh, you know, you shouldn't dive too deep into the whatever. I used to be a believer of that, but now I'm the opposite believer. I feel like if you're gonna go into the depths, if you're gonna gaze into the abyss, you gotta fucking fully go down that rabbit hole. Because then when you gaze into the abyss and you see, you know, the eyes of the dragon or whatever, that really will shake you in to wanting to do something else or to see something else. Also, I think this car is just stuck there, so let's try to find a new one, I guess. But yeah, so I dove headfirst deep into the depression. You know, ate donuts at 12 a.m. Spent like $25 on burgers that I just ate in my room, onion rings, all that kind of nonsense. Ate it at, you know, 2 a.m. Did all of that, was sick, and it kind of made me really, really, really want to crave something else in life. I kind of maximally pushed, instead of just, you know, dwindling around, kind of just floating around doing nothing. I pushed fully into the degeneracy zone and was like, just speed ran the pathway to being like, I need to do something else. I need to change my life immediately. You're not getting this car back. Yeah, let's turn off that radio podcast because I'm doing a podcast here. But yeah, so at the very depths of my abyss, my darkness, all right, and then yesterday, that was kind of like 2 days, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think it was yesterday when I was in the very deepest dark depths of my depression. In the middle of the night at around like 11:30 p.m., close to 12 in the morning, I just picked up my camera and I started ranting towards the camera because I had these visions of like, I started to have visions of me just buying a ticket to somewhere online, like to Italy or somewhere in Europe, just buying a ticket and then just hopping on a plane the next day, not telling anyone where I'm going, and just going with just a one-way flight, no return ticket back, and just living. And in that vision, when I do that, I also record it to make it into something. I don't know why I would record it in my vision, but and we're gonna get to that, okay? But I recorded it all in this vision, and that was something that gave my life more fulfillment. And so last night, what I did was I effectively just... Is my wheel now busted? No. I just, before going to bed, just picked up the camera and just started ranting to it. And I came eventually to the conclusion that I do not want, like, there's no point to me being in Canada, in this country that isn't my home, if I'm not pursuing the things that I want to be doing. And, oops. Basically, I need a change of environment. This environment is clearly not good for me. So I need to go somewhere different. I need to go somewhere new. And coming to that conclusion, there are still, like, even when I say that, there's a couple of things that keep me completely from just comfortably being able to, like, get up and go on a plane and just leave. And some of those things are, and I whittled it down to a list of 4 things. 1, I have stuff in here that I still have to sell. 2, I have an album that I'm working on that I want to finish because I can't just bring my electric guitar around with me everywhere that I go. That's a little too much, okay? 3, I need to have a content backlog because wherever I go, I probably won't be able to, like, you know, set up a gaming setup and then be able to record anywhere on the go. I probably could. I have a portable monitor and everything like that I could use. But just lugging around a console with me all the time, it's not very convenient. And 4, I need to optimize my ability to pack if I'm gonna, like, you know, just have like one suitcase and a backpack that I'm gonna travel with. I need to fully optimize that and get that figured out so I can travel as light as possible. So those are kind of the 4 things. Little Jacob, yeah man, what's going on? Me not know. Me not going to go for a drink, Jacob.
I'm in the middle of something.
Also, do I need to say that? I just angered little Jacob, so I think I angered the Jamaican community. I love Jamaican people, okay? I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't need to fucking apologize for this cancel culture bullshit. I can't even do a Jamaican patois crude accent anymore. That's not accurate at all. Fuck you, cancel culture. Anyways, yeah, those are the 4 things that are keeping me from fully just packing up my things and going and feeling fine, doing that guilt-free. So, in figuring that out, in diagnosing a feeling, in having a feeling of, like, I feel horrible, and then diagnosing what is the root of that feeling, which is I feel like I'm not capitalizing or doing anything substantial in my life at all. I feel like I'm just kind of at, like, a standstill. In having that feeling, diagnosing the problem, and then figuring out the solution, which is, like, just changing in the environment, and then figuring out, okay, why am I not doing that solution right now? That walking through all of those kinds of questions has given me a framework from which to work with. And I think there's 2 really big things that I need in my life is I know I mentioned like 3 things at the start. I don't even remember what those 3 things were. I think I had a completely different structure in mind. But anyway, I think I covered those 3 things. But I think in my life what I need is I just need a framework from which to just start moving through with things. When I came to Canada, I didn't really have a framework of anything. I was just like, all right, you know, my grandma lives here. I have a place that I can stay. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to go and have a bunch of free time to do whatever the hell I want. But the key thing is that whatever the hell I want, which is like creating stuff. Oh, that's the second thing. The second thing I figured out, or I guess the third thing that I figured out. No, the second thing that I figured out is that I can't really pursue what I want to do, which is creating stuff. Like the reason why I feel stuck here and why I need to go somewhere else and why going somewhere else would be the solution to all my problems is because I, right now, don't really have any good energy or good social interactions or anyone to share things with that kind of gives me the energy to continually pursue creative projects. So the creation process, right, it's kind of like you have some idea and then you work hard to like manifest that idea into reality, and then you go and show it off to other people. Now the idea creation part and the manifesting it to reality, those are fueled by internal forces. And some of those internal forces are like the basic internal forces of, like, you know, survival. You know, it's fueled by calories, it's fueled by water, blood, sweat, and tears, etc., etc. But some of them are not so tangible. Some of them are things like social community, social interaction. Sometimes, like, interacting with other people is what brings some sort of fuel into my life to creating things. And I didn't realize how important that was until I came to Canada with basically nobody but my grandma that speaks Chinese, and I can barely speak a lick of Chinese, so I feel very isolated. I didn't realize how important that interaction with other people was, even on a very small scale. Like in university, listen, I was not the most popular kid in the world, okay, but I had a couple of good friends that I would hang out with, you know, either like once a week or like once every other week or whatever. I would tend to keep to myself, but I always thought that's because, like, I don't really care too much about social interactions as much as I care about, like, working on things that I want to work on. But I didn't realize how much there's, like, taxis everywhere. Jesus Christ, is it because I'm driving a taxi? Let me drive a different car. But I didn't realize how much social interactions really mattered to fueling me and my life, and, you know, the fulfillment that I get from life. I didn't realize how important social interactions was to that cycle of like creative output. So let's turn off the radio. Oh, I am now wanted by the police because there somehow was a police car that just spawned right behind me. Let's see if I can lose the cops while still focusing on what I want to say. Yeah, so the main thing that I think moving out of Canada would fix is that it would provide me, like, I would go back home to where I have like a community of good social interactions that I can have. And I think that is more important than living in like a nice, you know, first world country where everything is super nice and I can go out and I can get a frickin' burger whenever I want to, etc., etc. Yeah, I think getting out and having those social interactions is ultimately a more important endeavor. So that's one thing that I realized, and the second thing that I realized is that for some reason the archetype that I have as a person, right, it's more oriented to, like, I have more of like a coaching archetype. In some ways I feel like I could be like the best life coach out there, because whenever like, you know, some of my friends in my life, they have hopes and aspirations of like, oh, ultimately, like, you know, I'm working a 9-to-5 job, but I want to, you know, own my own business, be a creative person, do this and that. And that's really cool. And when I hear them say that, and when I look at their lives, it's very easy for me to like see the person they are now, actually envision the person that they could be in the future, and then lay out a clear path for like, oh, if you just do these things, then you can become that person, because the thing that you want to be, I can see you being that person. Like, that is entirely feasible, so here's the path to do it. It's very easy for me to figure out what other people should do with their lives to capitalize on their success. But for some reason, looking at my life, you know, it's really hard for me to actually visualize what is the thing that I want to be. Like, I've never had like a clear vision of like, this is what, you know, the SwagTower guy, the main character of the MC of the SwagTower universe, this is what his life it should look like 10 years from now. I have no ability to visualize that. I've never really been able to for as long as I remember. So that's one thing. I have a hard time visualizing what my future self should be. And two, I have a really hard time of both figuring out the path to that end destination because I don't really have the destination clear in mind, and I have a hard time sticking to it as well for a consistent amount of time. So yeah, in those ways I feel like I'd be an awesome life coach for other people, because I would figure out ways that they could should we try to get a helicopter? Let's try to get a helicopter. I would figure out ways that they could level up their life, but for some reason for me, I can't figure it out. Is this going to give me a wanted level? I don't think so. Wow, that's awesome. Alright, let's find a helicopter. Well, now I have a wanted level. 4 stars? Are you serious? Dude, just give me a helicopter. That's all I want. I think they spawn over here, right? Dude, I don't remember much about this game. Where are the helicopters? Please spawn one. Dude, no helicopters are here. Anyways, that's the next topic that we should jump in, is visualizing and manifestation. That's a good topic to talk about. But yeah, I think I have the coaching archetype where it's, I don't know, like for some reason everything becomes super clear. Like I'm able to find like the end goal, the purpose of something, and I'm able to like figure out the best path to getting to that end goal if I just dude, we're not gonna be able to find a helicopter. I'm so screwed, aren't I? Did he just shoot out my wheel? But yeah, it's much easier for me to figure out that end goal and the path to getting to that end goal for other people. A lot of the time, so I did a physics degree, right? And the thing that I would do while I was in university to help me study was that I would live stream it, because I felt like if there's an audience, then it became very clear for me like what I should study, how I should study, and how I could best figure out like what to do. If I didn't live stream it or anything like that, I found it very hard to work up the self-motivation to study, and I had a very hard time getting through my classes before I did that. So I live streamed basically every single time that I would study, and I would just pretend like I was trying to show an audience like, here's what you would do if you were taking the same course that I was taking and you had to take this same exam that I was taking. And another thing, when I learn things and when I'm actually studying, the way that I learn and study things is I pretend that I'm teaching it to someone else. And I find that I really understand things so long as I feel like I can explain it to someone else. There's still no helicopters here, man. I need a helicopter. Please, where's a helicopter? Even when I was doing physics, when I could try to think about like what would I even want to do with a physics degree, the biggest thing that I could see myself doing is being like a professor or a teacher of some sorts, and that's what I'm doing right now. Like I'm doing tutoring, using my physics credentials as like a reason for why I'm qualified to tutor people. There are really no helicopters? Dude, this is so bullshit. This is so stupid. I guess I'm just gonna try to escape the cops now. But yeah, so I think I have like a coaching archetype where I just have to pretend like I'm doing something for someone else's benefit, and that is what gets me to actually follow through with things and do things to like a really good degree. I guess in some ways it's not just a coaching archetype, it's kind of like a performative archetype. So I guess I'm a performative guy, but in like the literal sense of like, I find that I elevate to the highest level when I'm put under when I'm given a reason to perform. Like I'm not able to perform, like I need to perform, right? You need an audience, and I can't have that audience just be me. I have to have that audience be other people, even if those other people are like completely hypothetical and will never like no one will ever actually end up seeing anything that I that I do. Dude, how am I gonna escape these people? Jesus Christ. I actually don't know. Let's just go on the bridge. Excuse me. There is a massive roadblock. That's awesome, dude. Can I squeeze through? Squeeze through. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Squeeze through. Boom. Holy moly. Dude, I don't want to be arrested, man. I'd rather die than be arrested. Am I actually gonna die? I might die from this. Holy moly. Yep. Okay. I'd rather die than be arrested. But yeah. So I've kind of figured out that I have the performative archetype, not as like a performative male, you know, drinks matcha tea and wears tote bags because it's cool. In the literal sense of like, if I'm gonna perform, if I'm gonna go into an act of something, I need to be performing for an audience of some sorts. So all of that is to say that last night when I just turned on the camera to record and talk about my woes and what I should do, for some reason recording the process of it really helps me actually follow through with things, and it gives me a feeling of a purpose, because I feel like now I have a purpose of like, I am recording to try to like, you know, capture and describe to, like, communicate to an audience what you know, how I'm gonna get out of this rut, right? So I have like an obligation to get out of that rut so I can actually communicate to an audience of like how I did it, and maybe give them an idea of how they can do it too. So I guess in some ways I don't have the coaching archetype or the performative archetype. I have the content creator archetype, where I feel like I just have to create content. I say that jokingly, but I have been like creating YouTube videos since like I can remember, like from, I don't think the 3rd grade, but I've been thinking about it since the 3rd grade, and then doing it since I think like the 6th grade, really. I don't know what draws me so much to that, but there's something about recording and this like performance, quote unquote, that feels super intuitive to me and feels supernatural. Supernatural, not supernatural. Feels very natural to me. So yeah, I think that's just something that I gotta do. So I'm recording me getting out of this rut, and at worst I never use the footage, but at best I'm able to make like an 1.5 to 2 hour long epic YouTube video movie about how to freaking save your life, kind of thing, how to bring it out of the ruts. Or at worst it's just an excuse for me to buy a ticket to go to Italy, one-way ticket. Boom, boom, boom. And it's really just that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Got a drink.
Today's newspaper, naked chicks and global warming.
God, dude, I have a sinus problem. It's so annoying.
Jesus, buddy.
I really need to, as soon as I get like, you know, like my first $100,000 or whatever, I'm gonna like try to get surgery for my sinuses, because that is like the worst thing. If I talk for like a prolonged period of time, start to get like a frontal head pressure, and my sinus just kind of like, I don't know, gets like all stuffed up. It really sucks. I don't know why that happens. I do have like a deviated septum, but I just have sinus problems in general that I need to fix. But yeah, so on to the next thing of manifestation. So I partially also got the idea to record because I was watching Togy videos, and he does like an 1.5 to 2 hour long videos where he just like makes like a literal like YouTube quote unquote movie, which is what he describes it as, like his YouTube movies. I would also describe it in a similar way, actually. because in some ways they are movies, because his life is just that insane in his videos that he records. But he makes like an hour and a half to 2 hour long videos where he'll just do a bunch of whatever. He'll just record like a week or like a month period of his life and then condense it into a YouTube video. So that's where I got the Jesus Christ, I need to drink more water. That's where I got the idea to record from, because it would be cool if I could make my own version of that. Plus, he is like literally making movies on YouTube. Like I want to eventually move into like a filmmaking type thing, and so, you know, who's to say that me just recording and doing my own very long YouTube videos can't be my own movie of sorts. So, yeah. Anyways, another thing that I got from Togy and John Zerka to a certain extent was manifestation. And I won't dive fully into my ideas of like manifestation and stuff like that, because I am thinking in my opinion, I have a pretty solid framework for that stuff that I don't want to fully put out there yet until the idea is fully realized. So I'm still kind of working on it in the background. But for now, we can just talk about it in terms of like how people typically talk about it, of like manifestation, you know, higher frequency living and stuff like that. So where was I gonna go with this? Give me a second. I already kind of mentioned how I don't really envision like an actual life that I can live. Yeah, okay. So a lot of people talk about how manifestation is extremely important as a concept, because that is, for a lot of successful people that I've listened to online, the way that they have kind of found their success in life is they at some point were literally able to like see the future life that they were living. And it wasn't separated into like this is the now and this is the future. It was more like that was their life, and because they are that person and that is what eventually comes to them, they were able to see the future in the present moment. It's like for them the future became the present, and they lived in the future for some moment. Like they weren't separated by time and whatnot. Like they existed as one entity. And I think that is true. I think in some ways you need to like see it in like a wizardry kind of sense, to like, you know, literally bring that future reality into your present. But in other ways, I think you also need to do it because it does shift you into becoming like the only difference between like you now and you of what you want to be later on in life is just like the like one, it's the experience of like actually doing the things to get there, but two, it's the identity of identifying as that. So if you're able to jump into the future like that, if you're able to jump into your future self like that, then you can literally identify as, you know, the multimillionaire or the film director or like the I don't know, the startup owner, you know? Like those are things that you're literally able to don the identity of, so everything else in your life just becomes that much easier. These people are running red lights, dude. What the hell? It's a green light, guys. Okay. These NPCs aren't following the rules, but yeah. So a lot of people say that, and one thing that I've always struggled with is like I truly believe that is definitely a thing. Like that is a truth about how the world works, about how your mind works, about how you operate, is that you need to be able to visualize that future for yourself and live as if you are that person so that you can make that happen. But a big problem for me, like I mentioned earlier, is that it's extremely hard for me to visualize. Like, I can't visualize future me, and that I can't be like, yeah, man, I live in this place, I have this house with this many bedrooms, and like, you know, I got like this whole family, and I'm doing this, and this is what I do every day. I can't imagine that, but the only thing that has been like a consistent thing that I always see for myself is my identity of who I am. And I felt this when I was in high school. I felt it really strongly when I was in university, and I even feel it now to this day. But who I am is, at heart, I am someone who is a creative, that I create things, and that's what I always see for my life is creation. Even in that process of like wanting to record things when I was in like grade 6 or whatever, I was creating these, you know, YouTube videos. I was emulating the stuff that I was watching. I watched a lot of YouTube when I was younger, and that is what I did. I consumed that content creation type thing, and I did it. And I consume a lot of art and media, and I do it as well. And that is the part of me that is so consistent that I don't even need to like manifest or like believe is true, because it's so core to my identity and the way that I navigate through life that is almost, it's second nature to me. The creation aspect of me, that is just who I am. And whenever I was in university, and whenever I had the idea of like, oh, like if I did physics for a living, like, you know, where do I look like in 10 years? Could I be like a physicist doing like, you know, research or something like that? I could never identify as, you know, SwagTower the physicist. Am I gonna use SwagTower? I mean, my name is Paul, so I always I could never identify as, you know, Paul the physicist. I was always, you know, Paul the creative. I could identify stronger with Paul the musician, but I can't, like, I never felt good just being like, oh, like, I'm just a musician. Like, I could never identify with that. I could never gel with that. So, yeah, I guess in some ways that is like the manifestation, visualization of, like, that's the most that I can visualize of myself, is just that identity of being someone who creates things. And it's not that I visualize it, that's just literally who I am. Like, I just have an inherent drive in me to create things. Even when I was feeling mega depressed, I would still create things in the form of, like, I would write. I was even still like doing these videos and recording stuff and trying to, like, every week, you know, record and upload, like, Jesus Christ, record and upload these videos. And I don't know why, but like, I can't, you know, it's not like I want to be like a YouTuber or something like that. Like, it would be cool if I could make money off of this, but this is just something I identify less with, like the label of like YouTuber and social media person and, you know, musician and filmer and stuff like that. I identify less with those labels and more with just, you know, a creative label. Like, that's, at the end of the day, that is who I am. That is just so core to my identity. Like, for example, for like video creation and music creation stuff, I kind of talked about this a bit in the previous SwagCast, but a lot of the creation stuff I kind of have just done on my own, and I've figured out kind of my own way to do it. And so that's why I don't really feel any pressure towards like doing things in like a correct or an incorrect way, because it's literally just, you know, there is no correct or incorrect way to do it. There's just however I'm doing it. That's just, like, I'm just doing it. There's no right or wrong way. There's no way to fail. When I record a video, I'm just doing it. I have OBS open. I'm putting my webcam, you know, in the corner, because I've seen this before. I have a webcam, I have a mic, I have all this stuff, and I just do it. And I get the, yeah, and over time I've just kind of like figured out how to get all of the equipment necessary to do all this stuff, you know? Like I don't just have a gaming headset mic, like I have like a proper mic that I use, like XLR cable, like I have a mixer as well as the Audio-Technica AT2020. Pretty good mic that you can get for like the $150 budget range. Pretty damn good. But yeah, I have, you know, Ableton Live 11 Suite. You know, I had Premiere Pro and then eventually switched over to DaVinci Resolve because it's free and I'm not paying fucking $20 a month to be able to edit. Fuck that, Adobe. Fuck Adobe in general. But I've come to figure out all of these things for myself. Like I have a capture card, everything like that. And it's not because I was like, I want to make a YouTube video, let me go watch this YouTube tutorial on how to fucking do this. I just kind of like built it up from first principles because I was driven by wanting to create things. Like, you know, I like playing video games. I see content where people play video games and they, you know, make videos about it. I love to do that too. Like oh shit, I want to go on that roof actually. Oh. I want to try to go on that roof. But yeah, I play video games as well, and I, you know, watch that content online, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this too. And so from first principles, I build up like, okay, I need to record myself talking, I need to record my, you know, my visuals, I need to record the gameplay as well. So capture card, webcam, microphone, boom, 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 OBS. There you go. You got it freaking sorted out, figured out. And that's all because it's being driven by like such a strong internal sense of like just wanting to create. Like that is just my being. So anyway, I say all of that. I go on that huge tangent to say that I don't identify with any other, like I can't see myself being a physicist. I can't even see where I'm gonna like live in the next 10 years or whatever. Like I can't visualize this perfect vacation home that's like by the water, blah blah blah, and this is what I do every day. But the only thing that is super consistent in all of my life is creation and that creative aspect of everything. And whoops, gonna have to run over you. Oh god damn. I got him on the roof but not me. Please don't tip. Please don't tip. There we go. It is very dark. How do I get out of here? Bam! Slam the gates. Get out of the way. My car, dude. The car's already ruined. But yeah. So my point with that is to say, I, from like a young age, or not from a young age, I've semi-recently kind of, like in the past 4 years probably, in the past 4 years I've kind of come to figure out that creation stuff, like that is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But I've only been cognizant of the fact that that is like, that's just because that is what fundamentally drives me. I don't know why. I don't know why I get such like internal motivation from creating stuff and doing that sort of thing, but that is what fuels me. And a lot of other people in their pursuit of, oh come on, can we get that roof at least? Nope. In their pursuit of being happy and figuring out what brings them fulfillment and what their purpose in life is, they are looking for that thing. Like I've already found it to some extent. So in some ways I feel blessed because I've answered the hardest problem of them all, which is like how do I get fulfillment in my life. It seems like I've kind of figured that out. I figured out what gives me fulfillment. Now I just have to figure out how to be able to be fulfilled and like live at a baseline level. Like how can I make money to navigate through this world? That's where all my woes and my problems kind of come from a fundamental degree. So do I even need to move out of this country? Yes, I do, because I can't make money in this country. And yes, I still need to move out of here, basically. But yeah, I found what brings me fulfillment a lot of people have not. And a lot of people's lives are spent looking for that thing that brings them, come on, dude, that brings them fulfillment. So, I guess here's the other thing. How do you find that thing that brings you fulfillment? I don't know. You kind of just have to do a lot of things. I watched a Bradley Martin, the Raw Talk podcast with Togy. I think it was the first time that he was on the show, and they were kind of talking about this law of attraction thing. It's like an hour and 13 minutes into the video. Whenever they start, there's like a timestamp on it if you want to watch it yourself. I highly recommend watching that part of it, at least just that part if you don't want to watch the whole thing because you don't care about them. But when they were talking about this law of attraction thing, Bradley Martin was talking about, like, for a long time he felt like a loser, that kind of thing, like worthless. He didn't really know like what was, you know, he couldn't really know like how to navigate his own life. And oh yes, no, okay, at least this roof, come on. Okay,
Start, please.
oh damn, my engine died.
Come on, you piece of crap. Start.
Damn. But yeah, he because Togy was like, oh, I've never really felt like that, you know, I've always just felt like I just got to do some, you know, some stuff in life. But Bradley Martin was talking about how he felt like a loser for some extent of his life, and when he was in the gym, that's like the first time that he never, like, it kind of distracted him from those negative thoughts, and he was kind of just in a space where he can finally think with clarity and have some positivity move in his life. And I think that's the same for me when I'm creating. Like, I don't really think of like the negative stuff as much. I just kind of like am in a neutral operating state, if not a positive operating state. Yeah, so I think your way to find your fulfillment is to just kind of do a lot of things, and eventually you'll land on something that kind of just puts you into like a literal flow state of sorts. And when you find that thing, you know, then continue poking and prodding and kind of exploring things that are tangential to that. And come on, let me just steal a car. And eventually you'll kind of figure out something that you can do, that you want to do for the rest of your life. And whatever that thing is, that is the thing that is your purpose. That is the thing that brings you your fulfillment at the end of the day. I think that's like the easiest way to answer it. Now, it's not easy doing things and trying to figure out what that thing is. My theory is that I think when we're kids, when we're very young, we kind of have an intuitive, we're so in tune with our intuition and our fundamental feelings that we naturally gravitate towards whatever it is that brings us fulfillment and is our purpose. But with a mix of, like, maybe your parents don't quite realize that that is exactly what you're destined for, and so they don't really fuel that passion by, like, supporting it, by, like, getting you the equipment and the things necessary to, like, keep down that road that you're on. Or something bad happens in your life, and so you just can't, you no longer, like, you had an avenue to doing something and you no longer have that avenue to doing that thing. Yeah, I think when we're kids, we're very attuned to what our purpose is, what brings us fulfillment. But when we become adults, when we grow up, we kind of lose touch with our intuitions, partly because, like, our minds, our focus and our concentration and our conscious ability to navigate through the world consciously, to navigate through the world consciously is diminished by a large extent, partially because, like, we kind of numb our minds with social media, and also, like, the 9 to 5 kind of, like, work. You work some 9 to 5 and something that you absolutely hate, so your spirit is kind of crushed. Yeah, so if you want to find your fulfillment, try to go back to, like, you know, the same type of playful mind state that you had as a kid, which means to get in touch with your intuition, get in touch with your feelings, really sit down and try to regain control of your mind and really try to navigate through the world consciously. Because once you're conscious and you're aware of things, then you can start to feel things with a deeper depth, and you can start to understand things more with a deeper understanding of life. So you'll probably be able to intuitively figure out and get back to being gravitated and attracted towards the thing that brings you purpose. That's about it. That's 50 minutes. We did non-stop talking for 50 minutes, non-stop yapping. That was pretty good, I think. Yeah. That's about it. It's sunset in GTA 4 now. So, yeah. If you like that, hey, I highly recommend, like, I actually recommend watching the last one that I did on double speed. Don't watch it on single speed. I have a problem where I talk way too, like, I think about what I want to say in groups. So there's a lot of dead space in between everything that I say. But when I start talking, I actually talk fast. You know, like, I have a really bad habit of talking in that way. I think it's probably from, like, I used to watch, like, Jordan Peterson lectures back in, like, 2016 when he was still a psychology professor at the University of Toronto. And I picked up a lot of my speaking and thinking and communicating mannerisms through him, because that's kind of how he talks. So, yeah, anyways. Dude, I need to drink a lot of water. Holy shit. I get way too dehydrated when I talk. I'm gonna go to sleep dehydrated. I need to drink a bunch of water tonight. Jesus Christ. I'll probably just, like, drink an electrolyte stick pack or whatever. Anyways, that's it for episode 1 of the swag, or episode 2, sorry, of the SwagCast. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, or else this will be you. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you don't want to be like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell, especially if you don't want to end up like this. Because that's what you'll end up as. Satire. That was a joke, YouTube. That was just a joke. Anyway, time to quit the game. And time to hit the hay. And it's time for you to not quit the game of life. Don't quit the game of life. Seriously, if you're in a really depressed spot, some more real talk, last minute real talk. If you're in an incredibly depressed spot in life and you feel very rough and you feel like you can't really do much, that is okay. All right? Everybody hits rock bottom a lot of the times, but you just have to, you got to sit down. You can't numb it away with your phone and stuff like that, okay? Please don't do that. But you got to sit down and you have to really get in touch with what you're feeling. Try to think about, why am I feeling the things that I feel? And then once you figure out why, like the causes for how you're feeling, think about how you can fix those things. That's like the most basic thing that you can do, the most basic level of advice that I can give, but it's true. I think that's what's true. So if you're down in a rough spot, listen, I've been there. To some extent, I'm still kind of there. But all we can do is just keep, listen, there's two things that you can do. You either take a step forward or you take a step back. There's no such thing as standing still. You're either taking a step forward or you're taking a step back. So when you feel like you've taken, many steps backwards, all you got to do is just start. As soon as you catch yourself, that is the start of you taking some steps forward. Okay? As soon as you catch yourself being like, whoa, I am going way down the drain right now, that recognition in itself is a step forward. So you just got to keep that momentum going, keep doing those steps forward. And we're always going to move backwards. Life is a bunch of ebbs and flows, okay? That is life. Life is a state of struggling to reach homeostasis. That is what life is. Entropy, everything tends towards disorder and chaos or whatever the hell, however you want to view it, that is life. Life is not steady. Life is not constant. Life is constantly changing. It really is like a waterfall or like the ocean waves. But the thing is that every time that the tide moves back, it always comes back even stronger. And there's tsunamis, there's ocean waves, there's droughts, everything that happens. But at the end of the day, you are still you. You are like the earth. You are a ball of potential and greatness that is just waiting to be unleashed into the world. And don't let the minor disasters and problems that come up in your life, don't let that define your life, and don't think that that is all that there is to life, because there's so much more. And we have a tendency to focus on the negatives because that usually is what led to our survival back in the day. But now that we live in such a prosperous time, we kind of lose track of everything that we're blessed with, everything that we're given. So just, every day, be grateful for the things that you have. Look forward to how much capability you have to act. You're healthy, you're sound of mind. You can go out there and you can change your world literally. So even if it seems very bad, and I know sometimes it feels so bad and it feels so hopeless, but it's not bad. It's not all that bad. It's not that hopeless. There's always something that you can do. There's always change that you can enact in your life. Okay? So even in your darkest times, don't feel like quitting the game. All right? The game of life is awesome. There's tons of times where you want to rage quit the game of life. You want to rage quit. Hey man, sometimes you want to rage quit the game of life, but you got to be a heckin' awesome gamer and you got to keep leveling up, Chungarino. Keep leveling up, Chungarino. So don't quit the game of life. Keep playing. Your boss battle is coming up soon. Your experience points, you're getting the experience points, you're about to level up. SwagTower out. SwagCast episode 2. That's it. We're out.